The Yeti Radio, powered by DavidLeeImaging.com. David Lee Imaging in the Titletown Music Archive and the Live 365 app. Welcome to the Backstage Lounge on the YetiRadio.com.
Good evening, everybody. It's the Yeti on the YetiRadio.com, live in the Backstage Lounge. Last train to Juarez has stopped into the train station right here at the Yeti Radio, and we got him here for a live interview, and this is going to be awesome. But we're going to start it off with the opening song. It's called I've Got Your Six, right here on the YetiRadio.com.
I've been told by many around here how lucky I've been. Got more so-called friends than leaves in the wind. Like those leaves, they scatter around. Life gets tough and I call. I was down my circle of friends. It got real small. Lent a hand to any in need. I always believe that you reap what you sow, and that's something I heed. I've been told that I live my life a little too wild, but I'm no different than any other guy. Lives their life more mild. So I my hat to you, those that bled when I fell and you didn't have to. If you're down and you got nowhere to go, you ain't gonna fall, 'cause I got your six, just call. Life has taught me one thing, it's you get what you give. I have always lived by the words, live and let live. Yet it pains me to have to say that today I don't trust a soul. Everyone's your friend when you're up, when you're down, none at all. So I my hat to you, those that bled when I fell and you didn't have to. If you're down and you got nowhere to go, you ain't gonna fall, 'cause I got your six, just call. fall, 'cause I got your six, just call.
Last Train to Juarez, right here in the Yeti Radio in the Backstage Lounge. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
How we
And
doing?
thank you so much for coming. I know we've been trying for a little while, and I get that some things don't.
It's good to be here.
Looking forward to this and having a lot of fun. We'll start with you, sir, and let everybody introduce yourselves. And
I'm Dejan Knežević. I'm the singer and I guess you could say the band leader for Last Train to Juarez.
all righty.
Over here we got David Yoder on bass. Go ahead, I'll let you guys make your introductions.
Easy Mark, pedal steel guitar.
I thought you changed your name.
I'm Brian Tiley. I'm the drummer for the band. Oh, do I have to say to this? I'm Brian Tiley, and I'm the drummer for the band.
Well, I turned it up all the way. We heard you, but
All right, I'll hold it. I got that.
I know, and we kind of have that problem with the members of the band that aren't used to handling microphones. So
Yeah, I don't handle microphones.
I forgot to speak into it too, yeah.
I don't know if we want to know what you handle.
And that's Big Ange. She's the boss.
Yes, the boss lady.
I'm just band mom. I'm the cat herder.
Meow.
So most of us know, but you made probably the biggest transition in music.
Yeah, I played, well,
You want to talk back into the mic?
yeah. Yeah, I played, in the 90s, I was in a band called Core, playing death metal. I took a little while, in the 2000s, I took some time off as I had kids and got married and started a business. But around 2011, I joined up with Pelvic Meatloaf, another more prominent metal band in the Phoenix area. And did that till about, what was that, 3 years ago? Roughly 3 years ago. I finally left Pelvic Meatloaf because we got too busy with this band. And this is really where I need to be right now. It's right. I'd rather focus on this stuff today anyway. Still love metal and all, but it's just not where I'm at today.
Right, and I understand that, and it's just it's a cool story that you went from one extreme to the other, and now you're got this amazing thing going on here, which is just fabulous.
Yeah, I think I was pretty fortunate to put together the band that I did, but I got really good at firing people for a while there.
Okay, so how many originals do we have?
Mark has been with me from the very start.
Okay,
Well, almost the very start. I did have a lap steel player before meeting Mark, but it was brief. But I consider Mark to be one of the OGs.
okay, awesome.
Yeah, and then Brian's what was the date that you April
4121.
4121? Yeah, so that's a good amount of time as well. I mean,
It
I
didn't
pretty
turn out to be an April Fool's joke. That's cool.
right.
We thought it was.
Jury's still out.
It's just a long running joke.
Right? Well, my princess warrior, it's her birthday, so congratulations.
Thank you.
And sir, when
Well, I was an April guy too, but only
He was a fly-in.
2 years later.
a
Well,
couple years later.
so we had actually hired a different bass player, and we were on tour.
Well, he played with us once before.
Yeah, he had subbed for us
Yoder.
once, so
Okay.
we knew of him. But we hired a different bass player and went on tour with the guy, and let's just say it didn't work out.
okay,
Within 3 days, it was not going to work out. The guy, we literally put him on a plane, sent him back to Phoenix, and we called Yoder here, and we said, "Hey, man, we kind of need you to save us. We need you to get on the next plane, fly out, and finish this tour off with us. Keep in mind, he doesn't know our songs." And he did it. He did it, and he pulled it off. I mean, we got.
Flew in the day the dude flew out.
Yeah.
Well, within like 30 minutes.
I think they
of
were at
each
the
other.
same airport. They might have walked past.
so
each other.
was it a high five in passing, or was somebody throwing haymakers?
Right.
But I figure, man, he saved our ass, got that whole tour done, and he's been with us ever since. So, yeah, it's his spot, man. So,
Okay.
Well
Absolutely.
deserved.
So how'd you come up with Last Train to Juarez?
Man, I get asked that all the time, and I wish I wish I had a good story for that. Well, the fact is, we could be Dejan Knežević, and that name doesn't really work in country that well. I mean, you can imagine a bunch of rednecks watching us play saying, who the hell's this Russian singing American country music, you know?
Right.
So I just didn't think my name would work, and I didn't want to use an alias. So it was just, I've always been intrigued by the
the violence and the cartel situation that used to exist up in Juarez in the 2000s. It was really bad. And, who doesn't like trains? So it's just a name I came up with. There's no crazy story behind it.
It works.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's see. So what? Oh, well, that's okay. I'll ask the question, but I think I know the answer. What's the biggest highlight so far?
There's one.
Yeah, there's several. I mean, obviously the AZ Bike Week opening up for Brantley Gilbert was huge. Receiving the Josie Music Award, standing on stage at the Grand Ole Opry, that still blows my mind that happened. Those would be, I guess, my two major highlights. But man, there's been so many. I can't. There are so many cool moments in this journey so far. What about you guys?
Playing at Bucks.
Yeah, Bucks rules.
Bucks.
I agree with Dan. The Brantley Gilbert was definitely really cool. Through this, we've all gotten really cool opportunities. I got to play drums for Dallas Moore, which was awesome. But when it comes to this band, it's definitely the Brantley Gilbert, the Josie Award. Those are two of the biggest things I think in most of our careers. I couldn't be happier. That's obviously April 1st. 21 was a huge thing for Last Train to Juarez.
Beginning of the end. That's when it all went downhill.
That's when we peaked.
You have to delete that part.
Well, wait a minute. Weren't you originally a metal drummer?
I was. In the 90s, actually, that's when Dan and I met. Dan was in a band called Core. I was in a band called 187. We practiced right next door to each other. And we played a ton of shows together. And Dan and I just kind of kept in contact, very little contact, but kept in contact over about a 25-year period. And one day out of the blue, I got a call from Dan, and he said, I got a country band, you need to come see us. And I said, okay. So I threw my boys in the car, and we drove up to Rooster's Country in Mesa and watched Dan play. And afterwards, I walked up and said, "Hey," I said, I could play guitar if you need a rhythm guitar player to fill in some holes." And he goes, "No, I don't think we want another guitar player." He goes, "But, I appreciate that." I said, I said, "When you record a CD, give me a CD. I'd love to have it. I love the music. It was great." Like a week later or 2 weeks later, Dan gives me a call. Said the drummer that they had at the time, Dylan, great drummer. He got offered some. Temporary tour thing with the band, and Dan needed a fill-in drummer for a month, and I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." I said, "Send me the music." I started learning the music, and then a week later, Dan calls me and says, "Dylan got offered a full-time position in that band, and I need a full-time drummer. Are you interested?" And I said, "Yep," and walked away from nothing to join this. So
I thought you were still playing in that other band.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did have another band. I was in a metal band called Twisted Theorem. And our bass player Bob had just died of cancer, and it was really rough on us, and we didn't feel right putting it back together after Bob was gone. So it was actually about perfect timing. So so I joined up with these guys, met Mark, and Chief was the bass player at the time,
right.
And I've known Chief for as long as I've known Dan. So it worked out really well, and everything jived, and we started working on the music, putting it together. It's been great.
Yeah, prior to this lineup, we actually had three of us were Metalhead's MC club members as well. So the lineup was pretty cool, to be in a band with your two brothers.
Not this cool.
But Chief, yeah, not this cool. But Chief, who was our bass player and who's also one of my brothers in the club, he couldn't commit because of his obligation. He works for Slipknot.
Okay.
So he's one of the tour guys,
Hey.
I don't know, stage manager or something. But so because of that schedule, he couldn't commit to what we do here. So, and hey, everything worked out exactly the way it was supposed to. Yeah.
Very, very nice. That's awesome. When did you actually start the band?
Oh man, it was actually kind of
2019.
roughly, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because I don't. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could technically say that, but this band went through so much. We spent about a year, me and Mark, just at my clubhouse, hashing out songs and just practicing and rehearsing and auditioning people without playing a single gig. I call those the whiskey sessions because every night we would sit there and
Drink a bottle of whiskey and write some songs.
yeah, but we did that for about a year before we did a single gig. You know, and I remember Mark would always be like, "Dude, we need to get out there and start playing." And hey, I fulfilled that. We're playing a lot.
You're playing a hell of a
Fulfilled
lot.
a lot.
I can't even keep up with you.
Yeah.
In fact, I had to drive all the way out to the lake. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm driving out there. I'm like, am I going to get offed out here? But that was a great show, and looking forward to more, for damn sure. But so, what's your philosophy when writing some of your songs?
For me, I'm just all about authenticity. You know, just real. I never sit down and write a song with an end game in mind. It's something inspires me to write something, and sometimes it could just be a phrase or an idea, and it blossoms into a song. But yeah, I value authenticity more than anything. I'm not a big fan of like Nashville country, if you will, because to me, most of what's coming out of there is just a product.
Right.
You know what I mean? They'll get 6, 8, 10 songwriters on the thing, just, you know, algorithmic songs that are just really just designed to sell. And, you know, I don't know. It just doesn't speak to me. I like authenticity. You know, maybe that's why I love metal. So, you know, that's why I grew up on metal.
Right.
You know, up until this band, I might have played one cover song in my entire life. In all my bands, we never did covers at all. It was all original. It was weird switching over to country, you know. But then again, we're playing 4-hour gigs, so
right.
As a new band, it's tough to have that much material anyway. So
absolutely,
but yeah. What about you guys?
How about Mark? Give Mark that mic.
All I want out of life is to play the pedal steel guitar.
And
I'm doing
succeed.
it. And life's too short to play cover music. We do some covers, but you wouldn't know them from the originals half the time.
And you wouldn't know them because they're not radio covers.
Yeah, I don't.
Right.
We don't really do a whole lot of radio stuff.
Yeah.
We got one or two that are somewhat popular, In Color and
Yeah.
Must Be the Whiskey.
Right.
Those are the only two I can think of that really even have some radio play.
But what I genuinely like about this band is that we don't have an electric guitar player.
Oh, Jesus.
And so that makes me sort of the lead guitar player, you know, as well as the steel player. And
I get what I get what you're saying though, because
Going with
what
that, but that
well, no, I know what he's saying,
was
because if you listen to
No,
what's
no.
coming out of Nashville or mainstream country music today, it's really just a rock band, a pop band, or a rap band. They're just labeled as country, you know.
Right.
It's a money grab. But yeah, you know, the 90% of country music coming out of Nashville is really a rock band configuration, right? Drums, guitar, bass, singer, possibly on an acoustic guitar.
Mm-hmm.
The fiddle, the pedal steel.
And you don't
that's all
hear
they-
Leslie anymore either.
Yeah. So you know, yes, we currently don't have a lead guitar player. That actually just happened very recently. Though he's an amazing guitar player. He's an amazing guitar player. I love him as a human. He's a great guy. It just came down to, more honestly, just dollars and cents. You know,
Right.
being on tour with 5 guys, that's an extra mouth, you know, that you got to feed and a salary that you pay. And even around here, you know, I recently closed my other business, so now it's sink or swim. You know, my income is literally this band and one rental property. So I have to start running things a little tighter. And unfortunately, lead guitar was the one thing we could part with.
Right.
And then philosophically speaking, like he was talking about, I kind of like the idea of just having a pedal steel, and I would add a fiddle, because I think that keeps us more organic, you know, and traditional, and differentiates us from a lot of this mainstream stuff that's out there.
Right.
where I was going with that is that in this band, I don't have to play steel guitar licks. I think more than just being, you know, tired of electric guitar. I mean, I feel like we've heard all the electric guitar I need to hear over the years. You know, the blues guys are bending, the shredders are shredding. It's licks, and what I get to do is actually play music.
Right.
So
And it adds a lot. It's such a different, at least for me, and I'm sure with Dan, because we both come from metal, it's such a different feel to play with a song with melodies and with bedding, like what Mark does. The the melodies that Mark puts to things.
I kind of describe what Mark does as adding a soundtrack to the song.
Yeah,
like
it
a
really
score.
does.
It's like
adds
the
some
movie
color.
score to the
like
song.
We're the canvas and Mark's the paint. You know what I mean? Like we put the canvas down, Mark paints the picture, and it turns out beautiful in the end because the harmony stuff that he adds into his playing is it's unlike anybody else that I've heard play pedal steel. Mark is way different than most people. And his style is so different, and it adds so much to what we do. So
we basically have an agreement that if he ever leaves the band, we're burning his whole house
No,
down.
that's my agreement.
I don't know if that's an agreement or a threat, but it's either way, it's in place.
Either way, it's in play.
Conversation, it's an
We're good.
agreement.
Yeah. it's a verbal agreement.
And I know both your two houses.
And so there's only one way out of this band.
That's right. It's in a box.
Can we delete that?
Okay.
So who's been some of your biggest inspirations in music?
You know, if we're talking about this band particularly, I credit Cody Jinks for influenced me to go this direction. The single that we're going to talk about in a little while is actually a Cody Jinks song. It's the first song that we're releasing that I didn't actually write, and I heard that song for the first time after a friend basically introduced it to me. I think it was 2017, and it was that song. And I don't know. It was that song that kind of opened up this whole world of Texas country and outlaw country for me. Because prior to that, country wasn't even on my radar. It wasn't something I'd ever even entertained. Somebody would have told me 10 years ago that I'd be, fronting a country band. I would have told them they're out of their mind. But here I am.
Okay, and why? I know it's a tough question.
No, it's almost an easy answer on this one, and I'm just going to quote you, Mark. It chose me.
Okay.
It wasn't something I sought after. It literally chose me, and I kind of fell in love with it. And I can't see myself doing anything else. So yeah, I don't. There's no reasoning behind it. Yeah.
It just happened.
A while back, and Dan said something about somebody told you country music is where metal dudes go to die.
Yeah.
and I disagree with that. In fact, I think it's the exact opposite. I think country music is where metal dudes kind of open up and live. You know what I mean? Because it's really a
live in
different
retirement.
animal.
Well,
man. It's like a different animal.
I don't disagree with him at all because I can't tell you how many country artists I've met that were previously metal artists like myself. Cody Jinks, he was in a thrash band before he went the direction that he did. I believe Whitey Morgan. Casper McWade. There's a lot of these guys that and I think it makes a lot of sense because the outlaw country mentality is really similar to the heavy metal mentality. It's anti-establishment. It's rebellious. It's kind of the same thing, just a different delivery.
And just because I need to get his name in there somewhere, Aaron Lewis came from metal.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
I don't know if I'd call stained metal though, but
They were new metal, so
maybe they're rock.
A little hard
Either
rock.
way.
A little hard rock.
Either way, he came out and
We'll make it hard rock. And
tears it up.
so the rest of you guys, who's your inspirations?
As far as drumming goes, originally the first drummer I ever watched that I wanted to be like was Ronnie Tutt, Elvis Presley's drummer. When I watched Aloha from Hawaii, he had that huge drum set, and I told my mom I wanted to do that. I wanted to play the drums. And from there, I went into just rock and metal. 80s metal's my thing. Cinderella, you're on your wall there. I love 80s metals. To me, that's the greatest genre of music prior to what we do now. For me, because the Motley Crues, the Tommy Lees, those guys are insanely good musicians, and metal. I don't want to say nowadays because a lot of there's like math metal and all that, and there's super talented guys out there. It just like a lot of that just doesn't appeal to me, like 80s metals and 90s. Alice in Chains was my absolute favorite band in the world. So that kind of stuff, the harmony vocals that I do for Dan, is very inspired, very influenced, I guess, by like Lane Staley and Alice in Chains. The way he did the harmony vocals, him and Jerry. That's the way I do my vocals for Dan, is just to make sure that the harmony matches him and it just flows with him and it doesn't take over him. It doesn't It's not flowing a different direction. It stays right with him the whole
not
way.
contrasting in either
Exactly.
direction.
It's kind of the same way that Nickelback does theirs. It's Chad Kroeger and the other guy. See, I had to get Nickelback in there too. So I'm making sure I'm getting my boys in there. So here comes the water bottle.
I think I'm at the point I'm just going to take the vinyl out and put it on the wall and replace a couple of those.
There you go. So yeah, so for me that's what it is. Those are my influence. I love metal drumming, but for what we do, it's a different beast, and like when we played with Brantley Gilbert, when I saw Brantley Gilbert in concert, the first time I saw him was with Nickelback, and I was like, why would you have a pop country guy open for a metal band? Then I walked in, and Brantley Gilbert tore that show up. It was insanely good. So when we got the opportunity to open for him,
Brantley Gilbert's, I would almost say he's a metal band these days.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I definitely agree.
It's heavy.
Yeah,
but
it's definitely heavy.
But he's so good. He's so good. And the opportunity we had to open for him was such a great opportunity and such a great experience. I enjoyed it a lot.
And he was a really cool, humble dude.
Really nice guy. Yeah, really nice.
Yeah, he hung with us for half an hour, 45 minutes after the show, just like hung around and talked.
And down to earth. Like, it was super down to earth.
He never made us feel like we were bothering him. He was so nice.
That's awesome.
Mark, yours.
Yoder, you got anything to say at all, dude? I mean,
Yeah, Yoder, come on.
I'm learning a lot here.
Throw in a dad joke.
That's
every
why
once in
we're
a while.
doing this. 'Cause
Yoder's got some great
I'm
dad
learning,
jokes.
they're learning, these guys are learning.
Yoder, give us a dad joke. You got one, I'm sure you do.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Jokes, I got
Yeah, here
one.
and there. We'll just throw one. We'll throw one every couple minutes, Come on, let's hear one.
We all came from kind of a different thing. Me, I grew up with really old country. I mean, Bobby Bear and
Right.
those guys. And then the Beatles happened, which
Right.
kind of changed that generation with me. And I went through all the rock thing, but what got me back was
Last Train to Juarez?
yeah, that's the second time. Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys,
Right.
we picked up an album. We were all kind of sitting around doing things we shouldn't be and listening to that. And man, that steel guitar and the fiddles and all that. And that kind of brought me back. And it was Waylon and Willie and all these guys were. And I was Waylon was playing Tempe. I'm an old Tempe guy. And
Okay.
so, I kind of got into that deal with a singer-songwriter back then. And I was the drummer at that time. And then I got kind of pushed over to the bass. I couldn't find a bass player the guy ever liked, a songwriter, and so I ended up being the bass player, and it kind of went on from there until the cover bands, as we were talking, they just kind of wore me out. So, I mean, you can only play The Chair and Neon Moon so many times.
Right.
And I was watching the grass grow when these guys called and said, "Hey." And I said,
We have a show in about an hour.
Can you fly up here?
It's not true.
That's
not a lie.
that was impressive.
There's a Concorde at the airport waiting for you.
No, the first time we played
First one
before.
was
First time he
Prescott
subbed for us,
Prescott.
we were in Prescott.
Yeah.
Prescott Valley.
Okay.
And he
1
got
hour notice.
notice. He met us there an hour before we played, and he played a 3-hour set with us. Never knew any of the music, but he made it through every song just fine. Was that the night Billy Don Burns played too?
Yes.
So yeah,
it
was
was.
it?
Yeah.
I don't remember Billy.
No, it was
I don't
no,
think
no
Billy
Billy.
was there.
The Billy show was after that. That
I
was
thought it
before.
was. Puppies.
But then the second time, you jumped on. Okay, yes, you can have the mic, sir.
Give me that back.
Well, I was just gonna say something else about the band that I consider myself fortunate. Every single one of these guys are also singer-songwriters and play guitar. So every single one of them, Ryan's released his own music. Mark has released music.
I've been paying attention.
I don't think David's ever released music, but he's awesome.
He does an amazing Willie Nelson.
Amazing.
Yes, he
Does
does.
an amazing, really, really amazing. I say that in jest, but I truly mean it. He really
And
does.
he can play the shit
So
out
good.
of some Christmas music.
Dave doesn't get enough credit. He is super talented, and he is the happiest person in this band.
Yes, he is.
Yes,
Mark
I
is
noticed.
not
I got
taking
a really good picture of him smiling at
I don't think there's
Scottsdale
a
Harley.
picture of him not smiling.
You know when you have the right band? When you can go on tour for 3.5 months and not kill each other, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yourself
yeah,
or
kill,
yourself.
either way,
come back and you're
kill
still
yourself.
friends.
I mean, but seriously, you're living in an RV for 3.5 months. It was literally four of us here, and her as well as another woman, Heather, who's kind of like a merch girl for us. But all of us in one RV, for 3.5 months, and that to me was a good sign.
Absolutely.
Well, in all fairness, we did cancel the last show and head home real quick. So we were done.
Let's see. What's your favorite song to perform so far?
I don't know. I never really thought about that.
Is there anyone you get excited about when you're getting ready to play it?
I kind of have the same feeling for all of them, to be honest. I can't even think of a song that I dread to play.
I have a couple.
Well, you may have some.
That I really, really like playing. I always do. After We Gray was the first song I heard Dan and Mark play when I first went and saw them. And After We Gray is, to this day, probably one of my favorite songs. Eye for an Eye, I think, is one of my favorite songs that we play. I just love the storyline behind that. I love the vengeance end of that song. I think it's beautifully written. I think that's such a great tune. So that one stands out for me almost every time we play it. And now a new one that Dan just wrote called Digging Holes. It's very Waylon-esque, and I love the feel behind that song.
The name sounds very
Waylon. That's probably at the top of my list too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ghost of Days Gone By is
It's getting there. It's getting there. It's getting there.
Great one for me.
Yeah.
And
'Cause of You, I think, is a phenomenal song. The three newest songs that Dan has brought to the table, I think, to this day, are the three best songs we have.
There's a new one called Borrowed Time that's better than any of them.
Borrowed Time is a beautiful
Okay.
song.
Really.
And we've yet to record any of these, so that's coming.
Right. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, all of the good
New
songs.
ones.
Everything that we haven't recorded is probably the best stuff we have.
within reason, they're all good.
But Eye for an Eye, I think that's the next single after the Cody Jinks one, right? Eye for an Eye.
Yes. Yeah.
That's-
That's going to
That
release
one's
that
one
hopefully
to
in
look
March.
forward to, because that one is so good. We wrote that one in Mexico.
Yeah.
I say we. Dan wrote it.
Well, it was
We put it
inspired
together
by the
in
Gary
Mexico.
Plauché story. Are you familiar with that? It's where a karate instructor was basically molesting his son.
Oh.
And the courts were overly lenient on the offender, so he basically disguised himself and was waiting by a phone booth when the guy was walking by with the bailiffs, and he just turned around and blasted the guy, killed him, and I think he had every right to do so.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the song was, what inspired that song.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing that doesn't happen these days. The children aren't protected
Well, there's not.
like they should be.
There's not enough. What's the proper word? Not retribution, but the eye for an eye. I mean, there really isn't. There really
not
isn't
enough
in this.
consequence.
I just think
there
there's
really isn't enough consequence.
there's
I
certain
agree.
crimes where a bullet in the head is absolutely justified, and
Yeah.
that's just the way I see it.
Yeah, and being the father of some who's lost a child, it to that kind of crime, it is a rough thing to deal with, and that song stands very strong with me as well.
Absolutely. A dog bites you, they put it down.
Yeah. I agree.
So, and to me, it's a valid argument, but.
Yeah. All right, happy subject.
Yeah, that was a foul ball.
Yeah, there we go.
I thought it was my estrogen.
I can't believe how well you pay us to do these interviews. I mean, I'm getting pizza after this.
Fat stacks.
Oh, damn it. What's your favorite performance so far?
I'm going to go right back. Yeah,
Back to Brantley Gilbert.
Brantley Gilbert,
one
for sure.
There's something about standing on stage in front of a sea of people like that. I mean, that's for us. That's at least for me. That was the pinnacle for me.
While watching your family cry out there.
Yeah, that was pretty cool too.
Pretty
And you know, it's wild. While we were playing up there, I had no idea that they had the jumbotrons on.
Yes, that's what
I had
I
no
was
idea.
My
It wasn't.
mugshot was on
It wasn't
the
until we got
Jumbotron.
done playing,
That's
and I was looking at the video that people were posting. I'm like, oh crap, they had us on those big old screens. I thought that was kind of
150
cool.
foot tall Dan and 150 foot tall Brian. And
That was pretty cool.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
My mugshot made it.
Yeah. We did a good night that night. It was a lot of fun.
It was.
There was 8,000 or 10,000 people there, something like that. Yeah, it was.
Where's your favorite local place to play?
That's easy.
Well, Roosters Country is one of the two places where I got my start. They've been super supportive to us ever since we started this out. Actually, we did an open mic there to try to, kind of showcase ourselves and hopefully get a gig there. But it's kind of where we got our start. I have to give credit also to Bandits up in Strawberry, Pine Top.
Okay.
Or not Pine Top, but Pine Strawberry. We were camping out there off the 260. And, just drinking and doing what people do when they're out there camping. And there was a bunch of people out there, I guess the owners from Bandits and their whole entourage. And, we ended up meeting each other and hanging out. And they're one of the first people that ever convinced me to play an acoustic song around the campfire. Because I would never sing in front of people. I've growled, I've done the death metal thing.
Right.
But I've never sung in front of people. And that was around 2018. We were camping. And they were the first people that convinced me to get on my guitar and actually sing in front for them all. There was only maybe 30 of them. I think there was 30 of them there. But anyway, we're doing that, and as I'm playing a handful of songs, and they start throwing money at me. I think I made like $300 in tips camping.
Nice.
And but it kind of made me think, hey, maybe I can do this. It was already on my radar at that point. About a year prior is when I started listening to Cody Jinks and a lot of the Texas country stuff, Whitey Morgan, Sturgill Simpson, and it was that night that I kind of started thinking maybe I could do this, and the rest is history. It just slowly turned into what it is.
So in fairness, let's at least throw a shout out to Katie and Jimmy.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Steve and Sharif,
And now they're
Absolutely.
So they are really the table that was set for us.
Yeah,
and
and
kind of put it all in place.
And we consider them all our dear friends.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Awesome. Where were we? Oh, I was at Choppers with
Right.
Dallas.
Yep.
And I got introduced to the owner from
Chopper John?
Roosters.
Oh, okay.
And because they were all there. I was
Gotcha.
like, oh, wow.
Good people.
But, great. But he stopped talking to me when I asked him to put a place over here on the west side.
What I love about them though is they stay true to really supporting independent artists. There's a huge country music scene out here, but the vast majority of the places are just catering to the top 40 crowd, the dance crowd, top 40 crowd. That's it.
Right.
And very few of them are really supporting independent guys. The guys that are actually on tour, living from city to city, hoping to make enough money to get some food and cover the gas, to get to the next place. Not very many places do that here. Roosters is one of them that strongly support independent artists. And if you guys value original music, go to Roosters.
Absolutely.
You'll hear more of it there than you will at any of the other.
It is very sad that there's so many
There's so much
country
talent.
music
Yeah.
venues, yet all they want is
Top 40.
the same bands that play the same songs. They don't.
They won't
And
party.
they don't want to support independent local songwriters. They
Right.
want. They'll support local music, but they want local music that's playing somebody else's music.
Right.
And that's a sad thing in this day and age, because this art that we do that we're trying to make a living doing is dying, because number one, AI is going to ruin it for everybody, but when you have guys that are willing to work and willing to get out there and dig in the trenches to make a living and make music for people, and you get a venue or two or three in the valley that refuse to support local songwriters and original music, it's disheartening, because any garage band can get out there and play Neon Moon, maybe not as well, but they'll play Neon Moon
Right.
and all these other cover songs, which I'm not disparaging those songs. I like some of that music, but but Mark will disparage it. I won't. But but it is sad, because there is a handful of talented musicians out there that are great songwriters, that really do write good music, good country music, and it's taken away by the fact that these bars would rather just or clubs or whatever would rather have.
It just really comes down to dollars and cents.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Yeah,
absolutely. I can't even fault them for that. It's their business to run it the way they want. I just think it's disappointing. But
Yeah.
when I started this band, it's kind of funny because the first thing me and my wife did is we started stalking all the other country venues and events, you know, just to get a pulse on it. I mean, again, country was never on my radar. I was a metal guy my whole life, so even when I put the band together, it was foreign to me because you know, in metal you kind of you form a band with pretty much your friends and your band of brothers, you know, and then I learned quickly in country music it's all really just hired guns. You know, you might see the same artist 2-3 weeks in a row, and every week it's different band members, so they're just what I call mercenaries, and
Right.
So that took a while to adjust to. But I remember when her and I were going to all these different country venues, some of the advice I got from the local vets, if you will, veterans of the scene who've been part of the country music scene for a long time, they all told me the same advice. They said, do not play original music, stick to the popular covers that people like to dance to, maybe throw in 1 or 2 originals per set. That's the advice everybody told me, and they said work in the hick hop stuff and all this. So I just basically listened to what they had to say and did the absolute opposite.
Right.
That's exactly what I did, and
all the way around.
yeah, and you know, hey, for what it's worth, it's working out for us. So
Well, I happened to catch one of our local country artists doing a live feed one day, and there was probably 8 or 10 of us watching him, and he was doing a bunch of cover stuff, and I'm like, I know you got original stuff because of what I do. So me and some other lady was like, hey, can we hear this one? And we named one of his songs, and we got an emotional reaction because it
probably meant a lot to him.
Yeah, because has anybody ever asked to hear his original stuff? And
there's a whole lot of talent in this town. You know, I just think. Sadly, most people, and look, man, I can't judge somebody if that's what they're doing to put food on the table. You know, if they got to go out and play the top 40 songs, you know, to pay the bills, I get it. You know, who am I to judge? It's just not my lane. I can't go that direction. And I wish more bands would be willing to kind of take the leap of faith and step out of that box, because then we there's so much talent in this town. We could have a flourishing country music scene, but instead it's just a lot of tribute and cover bands, and that bums me out, you know. I think it could be so much more.
Ever done or consider doing Country Thunder?
Actually, we have played it.
You have?
Was that last year?
Was it last year?
Yeah, last year.
This year.
I mean, it was.
Last year. Sorry, we are in 2020.
Yeah, though I think it should be called Some Country Thunder.
Okay.
I mean, because there was some country, but there was a lot of pop.
Yeah. That new stuff.
Yeah, we played the night with
Laney Wilson.
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, due to everything that happens in life, I've still yet to make it to Country Thunder, and I
could see where Country Thunder's a cool place to party. You know,
right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I got.
I wasn't impressed with the sound on the main stage very much, and I don't know. To me, Country Thunder just seems to be like a place to see and be seen, if you know what I mean.
Right.
You know?
Like a carnival environment.
Well, and that's what I've gathered from some other bands that I've had in here, festivals.
Yeah.
Because you have a locked-in crowd, and a lot of people, and one of them it was either 3 or 5 different festivals that were going down in Mexico City.
Right.
And they hit all 5 of them, and I'm like, I figured 2,000 a piece. That's 10,000 people that heard you that day.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one way to grow.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
But,
I mean, and we'll play. Listen, we'll pretty much play anywhere that'll have us if we can make it work.
We do play
you know.
Mexico.
Yeah, well, we played Puerto Penasco, but I mean, you know, even Country Thunder. I mean, hell yeah, I'd play that again. You know, I just wish they would bring in a little bit more of the, you know, what I consider real country music.
Red dirt country.
More the red dirt, more the Texas country, and a little less of the Nashville stuff. That's
Right.
just, you know, but again, that's just a personal. They're doing something right. They're making a fistload of money.
Yeah,
so,
they're making money. So
you know, who
can't knock them for that, I guess.
Who can I? You know, who am I to judge, man?
Let's see. If you could play anywhere in the world tomorrow night,
Red Rocks. Red Rocks. Yeah.
Red Rock. For
Yeah.
sure.
Red Rocks.
Is it singular? Red Rock.
Red Rocks.
Oh.
I think it's
Oh, see,
Singular or plural? I know what you're
Google it.
talking about.
I don't know.
I'm like,
Well, you know what I'm talking about. No,
Yep.
that would be a really cool. We went and visited it when we were touring through that area, and just
Okay.
it just phenomenal. I would love it.
I can
That
only
would be
imagine.
amazing. Yeah.
And the Sphere has popped up here recently in interviews, so I was like, that's one that would be interesting. But now
The Sphere?
they're building a second
I
one.
don't know. I saw some video of bands playing there. I'd feel. I mean, we already like if you have an empty venue or a somewhat empty venue, being a newer band or young band as we call it, an empty venue feels really big, even if it's a small venue, you know. And we play our fair share. When we tour, being that we never played in Texas, we never played in whatever these states were, and we go through the first few shows you play almost to an empty venue. I could not imagine even a full venue at the Sphere not feeling somewhat empty, because I watched those videos. I watched the video of the Eagles playing there, and I don't care how packed that place was. It looked very empty because it was such a big screen behind
Right.
it, you know?
I would just think that the focus of the entire show would be more on the theatrics.
They're not going to
Right.
be staring
You
at
know.
the band at all. So yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know
you
that I'd ever
wouldn't be
come
able to
with
see
it.
the band.
But I also think it could be really cool conceptually. I mean, if you got songs that can have supported videography behind it, I mean that could be a really cool experience and another way to present your music. I mean, so I'm not against it. I think it's cool as hell. I would love to play there someday, but
that cave's place would be cool.
I have a feeling that's. I mean, who's playing there? Like, there's mega huge stars.
You
I mean,
two, the
yeah.
Eagles. Yeah, it's all. It's yeah.
What were you saying, Ben?
The caves?
Oh, that would be a cool place. Where's that?
I don't remember where. I'd have to look at
I know you know what there's a
I know what
venue
she's
that's-
talking about,
yeah,
but I don't know where it's
I'm
at.
not sure where it's at, but yeah, that would be pretty cool. Who Steel Woods, I think, did that,
Yeah, I think so.
if I'm not mistaken.
What were the coolest
Or the
venues we
caverns.
played? Like throughout the nation that we played.
Bucks.
Obviously, Bucks. Bucks is one of the best places.
Where's Bucks?
Bucks is listen to this, man.
Nebraska?
Go ahead, Dan.
So it was the way I learned about Bucks. I had no idea it existed, and Angie's mom, her husband passed away. This is 2019, I think. I don't know, something around that. And her and I went out there to relocate her here to Arizona.
Okay.
So we're driving down, some Nebraska road, and in all directions, it's nothing but cornfields.
Right.
And we're going to her campground to go pick up her belongings from the campground, and I see this little dive bar on the side of the road, and it's Buck's Bar. I knew nothing about it. I said, "Hey, man, I'm starving. Can we just stop and get a burger or something?" So we just stopped at a random, dive that just happened to be on the side of the road. So I go in, we sit down, and we all order our food, and I start looking at the pictures on the walls inside this place. And one of the first ones I noticed was Cody Jinks, who I was listening to a lot at that time,
Right.
as I was discovering this kind of whole genre. And I think I saw a picture of Whitey Morgan up there. Oh God, I can't
Ward
remember.
Davis,
the other-
Alex
Ward
Williams.
Davis, yeah, Ward Davis was up there. These are all people that were influencing me at the time. These are all
Copeland.
all these people that I was listening to,
Copeland was there.
and I was floored. I was like, what? Where the hell are we? Why? So I'm, and I'm looking at the picture of Cody Jinks, and I'm
Right.
looking. It's like in front of they don't even have a stage. They set up the band, just they clear out the floor area. There's no stage, and the picture is of him in front of that front door, and I'm like, why would he play here? I didn't understand, because
Right.
he's already broke through. So he was already pretty prominent, and it made no sense to me. So I asked one of the waitresses, and she told me, yeah, all these guys kind of got their start playing there. It's kind of like the Mason Jar used to be here,
Right.
and so yes, in terms of favorite places or it's because of the meaning behind the place and
Right.
how supportive Buck, he's the owner, how supportive he is of this genre in general and independent artists. As a venue itself, it's just a dive bar.
But some of the best places
Yeah.
we play are dive bars. Cause
Well, yeah.
we
No,
played
true,
some
true.
cool places. Like I love the Wild Goose. I think it was great in Colorado.
Yeah.
Huge stage, amazing place to play.
Awesome sound
But
system.
I will also say the Inglewood Tavern in Colorado.
Oh, you're right.
Is one of my favorite places.
So
It's just
Inglewood
a
Tavern-
tiny bar, and
If
it's
I
so
had to
fun.
compare Inglewood Tavern to something that Ligori's, you remember Ligori's?
Okay.
Next to Mason Jar? That's basically what it's like. Would you agree?
Smaller than
Yeah,
Papa
absolutely.
Yeah.
John's.
Wow.
Smaller than Papa John's.
Yeah, but it's one of our favorite places to play.
Yeah.
You know, Sometimes but again, it's because of that family vibe there.
Right.
We go
Absolutely.
back, it's like, we're all hugging. We it's a family, So you can't really, So I guess there's two different ways to put it. What's the favorite venue because of the venue? It's the relationships that I like. Bucks, I like.
2565 or whatever that place.
That
is
place
to
is
play.
amazing. Yeah.
Warehouse 2565, great place.
And that place checks both check marks because not only is it an amazing venue, they are so supportive. I mean, extremely supportive. Every time we come through, he's got a green room area. He lets us shower there. He feeds us. I mean, just exactly what I wish Phoenix had more of.
Right, absolutely. Speaking of that, and being that you were in metal at the time, have you ever watched Pure Country?
I have.
I haven't.
Okay.
I have not.
Well, I'm
know of
referencing
it,
when
but
he
I-
went back to where he used to play, and his picture was on the wall, and that kind of vibe. So, okay. Let's see.
That's a cool thing too, though. When we go into venues and our stuff is on the wall, Roosters right on the side of the stage has two of our drum heads.
Right.
Bucks. My drum head is on a wall right next to Ward Davis, which Ward Davis is probably my favorite as far as the style of country music that we listen to and play. I think that dude is phenomenal. He's got such a great voice, and his songwriting is so good, and it's heartfelt.
And he's fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, he's a clown, but he's
hilarious, man. That guy's got a witty sense of humor.
Yeah, but to have our drum head sitting right next to his at Buck's and that went up the first night we were there. Buck loved us and put that drum head up, and I was humbled as a little man.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it was very
Go ahead.
cool.
Tell him the Buck truck story.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Just to give you an idea of who he is as a human being. So we're there. We play. After
First
we play,
time.
he's obviously giving us drinks on the house. One whiskey led to 10. Next thing you know, it's like 3:30. I don't know. It was very late. Very late. And we're stumbling out, getting ready to leave, and of course our van wouldn't start. So now we're stranded. It's cold, and we had just met Buck. This is the first time we had just played there, right? So we played and had some drinks together. Really knew each other for a couple hours. Throws me his keys to his brand new. I think it was like a Tahoe or excursion
Tacoma, I
or
think,
something like that. He goes, "Here, take mine. Just on your way out tomorrow morning, as you guys leave, just leave it parked in the parking lot. Put the keys underneath the mat. Leave it unlocked." Like, dude, this guy don't know us from Adam. So, but it's just the kind of person he is,
Right.
And that's what makes that place extra special.
Well, and not to mention that also says a lot for you guys, because that vibe comes off of you as well.
Yeah, I think we're all pretty nice guys. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
except for Mark, who can be vicious at times.
That's true. If you don't give him his silverware,
If he doesn't get his silverware, this dude gets mad.
you're screwed.
I used to be a professional people watcher.
Well, for
okay?
some crazy reason, he's cursed. Anywhere
Nobody
we go to
gives him
eat,
silverware.
anywhere we go to eat, they forget to give him silverware. And
they're
I can
scared.
watch it. It is true. It's happened at least a dozen times.
I think they're scared that if they give him silverware, he's gonna stab somebody. That's
So he's
That's
got reverse
never
magnetic
happened.
polarity.
it's never
Pushes
been
it
proven.
away. So what's the craziest thing that's ever happened on stage?
On stage,
You know, it's funny, man. Crazy shit could happen on stage, and I probably won't notice because I kind of
Yeah,
I
you
get-
get,
I-
you get focused.
Sturgis,
yeah. So I'm on stage, and I pretty much have the blinders on,
waitresses.
man, because I'm just locked into what I'm doing.
Right,
And
absolutely.
and that's probably not the best thing, but because I have zero situational awareness of what's happening behind me. But apparently, we did the entire set, and I had no idea this was happening. But the entire set, different females were coming up on stage and then kissing Brian while he's playing. And we're talking about 11 or 12 different women,
And one
you know.
and like
obvi-
4 dudes. Ryan Chris was one of them.
Yeah, and
the
some
security
dudes.
guard was one of them.
True. And obviously, we knew the sound guy there, so he was coordinating this. You know, he was kind of doing it as a funny thing, but it was. I had no idea.
No,
I didn't notice
none of
it.
them knew. None of them knew.
Yeah.
None of them.
Oh, you didn't know?
None of them saw it. I'm back.
Well,
Angie's
if anybody
going
would,
into-
I figure you would see it
towards
because
the end,
you
I
hang out.
noticed.
You hang out back there with him.
And at first, I didn't know. I didn't know this was going to happen. It was just kind of a surprise thing. But by probably like the 5th song, it was just like, okay, who's next?
There was
Who's
a
next?
line.
But it was. It literally was. It was like each of the bartenders, and they're all like scantily clad and very.
It's Sturgis, yeah.
Well, yeah,
So
it's
they're
Sturgis.
just sneaking up, and the first one I didn't even see coming, and it totally threw me off, and it messed me up. But I came back in and figured out where I was. But the rest of them, I think that was the goal, to just try and mess me up while we're playing. But I stood my ground.
I just think the amazing thing is I never noticed.
Right.
Not once. He
Not
didn't
once.
know until the end of the show.
Yeah, they told me about it. I had no idea.
I think
She's out there shooting video going,
No, I was guiding them up the back.
She was telling him where to go.
oh, she was in on it.
She was definitely on it.
I think my favorite was when Mark fell asleep on stage
Oh.
playing the steel.
Yeah.
He literally
Yeah.
fell asleep on the steel, and then I had to go up and like tap him on his shoulder.
We all,
I'm like, Mark,
we're
wake up!"
playing, and we
And he
noticed that there was
comes
no steel, and I'm looking at Angie like, what?
I'm like, Mark, wake
We're all-
up! And then he popped up, opened his eyes, and he did not miss a beat. He was just.
I don't know. The same, but
That
the same
night-
night,
I
he was
know
also-
where I'm at, and I know what I'm doing.
The same night, he was giving some lady a massage while we're playing.
The
Shoulder rub,
Shoulder rub.
shoulder rub. Nothing bad.
I wasn't
It was
going anywhere
innocent.
with that.
I just want to make sure it was innocent.
No, he's my older. I wasn't going anywhere with that.
My niece, it's fine.
That's true. It was Angie's niece.
My mama didn't raise no fool.
Unhappy ending.
There you go.
when he fell asleep.
What do you think about him? How many unhappy endings in one night?
In Sturgis?
Yeah, at Sturgis even.
All right,
Damn, that's
All right,
that's got to be a record.
Okay.
We're gonna skip right over to our next question, please.
If you could collaborate, other than Cody, if you could collaborate with anybody, who else?
You know, that's an interesting question because I've never really collaborated with any other artist at this. You know, it's just something I haven't done. Not to say that I'm against it,
No, if you could.
but if I could, man, it's a tough one. I can't really. You know, obviously, you know, Cody would be amazing. Ward Davis would be amazing. Heck, Wadey Morgan.
Can you bring somebody back?
Yes.
Oh,
However,
Leonard Cohen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Leonard Cohen. I've been a Leonard Cohen fan since my mid-20s.
okay.
And given an opportunity, that I think that would be an interesting one. Yeah.
Awesome.
What about you guys?
We all know.
Well, okay, I know you.
Mine would be either Aaron Lewis or Lane Staley.
Okay.
Mark. David Bowie, right? Where is David Bowie right now, Mark?
There's a story behind that one.
I'm sure there is.
Caitlin Butts.
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay.
Good choice.
Okay.
I think she has the most interesting and unusual country music voice since Patsy Cline.
Yeah.
She is
Okay.
amazing, beautiful voice.
Love that.
What about you, Yoder?
Well, I know there's so many good ones out there, but you know, the guy that I would love to meet is Eric Clapton.
Okay.
I like the way he plays. It's just tasty guy. Played a lot of different things and
Yeah.
different versions of different things.
Right,
from Creed
absolutely.
to Unplugged and just, yeah.
I can see that. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Definitely awesome. So let's talk about Lost Highway.
So yeah, like I said, it was 2017. We're just drinking beer in my backyard like we always used to, and my good buddy introduced me to that song. I was actually his girlfriend at the time, and it was Lost Highway. And the song itself isn't about riding motorcycles. I interpreted it as that. I think in his song, because he references driving, so it's about taking a long drive. For me, obviously, I ride with the motorcycle club. I'm into bikes, so I change a couple of lyrics there just to be so it's more from the angle of riding your motorcycle. But
Right.
so it spoke to me
Understandable.
for several reasons. One, because of the motorcycle angle. It's just something that resonated with me. But after hearing that one, I started kind of diving into that genre in general. And so I dug into the rest of Cody's music, obviously, which I loved. War Davis was one of the earlier ones that I discovered. And keep in mind, again, prior to this, country was not on my radar at all. Sturgill Simpson, Tyler Childers, Tennessee Jet, Casper McWade, Billy Don Burns, all these guys. It's just, yeah. So that song I credit for the pivot that led me from metal to country music, and that's, I wanted to commemorate it by recording it, and I'm really hoping we did it justice.
Awesome.
Yeah, because Cody's gonna hear it.
Yeah, we were on tour because I don't like to record someone's song unless I at least get their blessing. And we were actually on tour. I think we were in Colorado at the time. We were on tour with this amazing singer-songwriter, Tom McIlvaine. If you haven't heard of him, look into him. He's amazing. But we were on tour with him. He was opening the shows for us, and I'd mentioned to him that I wanted to record Lost Highway, but how the hell do you contact Cody Jinks?
He's like, oh, hold on.
Well, that's exactly what happened. Yeah. So Tom McIlvaine has written. He wrote the song "Gray" for Cody Jinks.
Okay.
And Rock and Roll as well. Awesome song, by the way. And he. So apparently, they know each other. He's known Cody since when Cody worked as a barback, I think.
White Buffalo or something.
So they've known each other for a long time. Okay. So yeah, so I mentioned it to him, and exactly what you just did there. He goes, "Yeah, here." And I wasn't with him. It was actually Brian.
Yeah, we were in the mountains, and I was talking to him about it, and he was like, "Well, let's ask him," because my question was just, "Do you know if he wrote it?" And he goes, "Well, let me ask him." And I was like, "Oh." And so he texted him while we're driving through this cliff ravine area. I'm like, can you watch the road? And he's like texting him. He's like, "Hey, Cody, that song Lost Highway, did you write it?" And Cody responded immediately. It was like, "Absolutely." And so I'd mentioned to him, I was like, Dan really wants to record this song. I said, but Dan won't record it unless he's got his blessing. And I was like, do you think he'd be okay with it? And he goes, well, let's ask him. And I was like, cool. So he starts the texting thing again, and we're going through this like curvy area now. I'm just like knuckled up on the so he hands me the phone. He goes, "Here, you ask him." And I'm like, "You want me to text Cody Jinks?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay." And so I'm just texting. I'm like, "So, hey man, I'm on tour with a super cool band, and the drummer's the coolest guy in the world." And I had to delete it all, and then I texted back normal. It was just like, "Hey, I'm on tour with these guys, and they want to record it. Would you be cool with it?" And he responded right away. He's like, "Yeah, absolutely. That'd be awesome." Yeah. So kind of surreal to have a text conversation with Cody Jinks. And,
what did your chin sound like when it hit the floorboard of the truck?
I think Dan's a bigger fan of Cody than I am. I love Cody Jinks, but I'm more Aaron Lewis. Dan's Cody Jinks. Well, no. So.
And
one of the Aaron Lewis responded to me, I'd be freaking out.
Right. One of the things is, look, I love Cody Jinks' music. I mean, I do. But one of the reasons I have so much respect for him is not so much just his music. It's who he is as a human. I mean, he's done so much for independent country music. He helps other artists. He's one of the most humblest people. I met him once briefly, but and I don't think I've ever heard anybody say something negative about the guy, like ever. And that's kind of that says something when you achieve that level of popularity, and no one has something negative to say about you. I mean, the guy is a Class A act, and that's one of the reasons I have so much respect for him. Plus, obviously, what he's doing for independent country music. He's now the largest independent country artist in the history of country music. He's kind of like what Metallica did in metal. The way he came up. Right. He did it without radio support, without any big label backing. It was just organic, earning his fans one fan at a time. And I've kind of emulated what we're doing, based on what he did. That's exactly what we're doing. We don't get any mainstream support at all. We're just hitting the honky tonks one at a time and earning our fans a couple of here or there,
How far east have you made it?
Florida.
Yeah.
South Carolina.
Georgia.
South Carolina, Georgia.
Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yeah, the only part of the country we really haven't even
is the northeast.
Northeast,
Yeah.
And we want to do we've been to California, but we haven't made it up to like Oregon and Washington, Idaho. Okay. But it's coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, intermission song time, and it's the Lost Highways, re-recorded by Last Train to Juarez, right here in the Backstage Lounge on the YetiRadio.com. Last Train to Juarez in the Backstage Lounge on the YetiRadio.com. Awesome song.
Yeah,
Love
it's
it.
coming out, and that one's going to drop tomorrow.
Drops tomorrow.
Yes. I think
Awesome.
if I remember correctly, but yeah.
And like I said, that'll be in the next show as soon as I can get one done.
I think it goes without saying that we should probably throw out Goody's name for the work he did on that.
Yeah,
Byron.
Goody and Byron, absolutely.
Byron,
Byron Filson, you're probably familiar. Villain Recording.
Okay, I've heard of him.
Yeah,
Yes.
so he's an amazing engineer. Only reason that I'm not using him now is simply I just can't afford it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
If I could, I would continue to probably work with him because, he's just. I think locally, I don't know. I haven't experienced all the studios, but he's definitely easy to work with and a gifted, engineer. But and Scott Goodwine, Goody, he's been helping me as well. So we're gonna try to do it yourself method moving forward and recording at my home. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
And Goody's the one that's gonna basically be our sound engineer for that.
Okay. So oversee it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Look forward to hearing more. I've always enjoyed your shows and can't wait to see more. We've talked about the whole cover and original thing, and
There's going to be a lot more because this year, my goal this year is to release a new single every 2 months.
Okay.
So we're going to be a lot more active.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all this is towards a new LP?
I'm going to do singles from now on.
Okay.
After we release like 10, 12 songs, I'll probably do some vinyl, limited vinyl.
Okay.
I don't see the point in doing CDs anymore. It's a dying medium. They make great coasters.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, I saw a DIY video turn them into solar panels.
Yeah.
You've been in music as long as you have, and the difference between when you started and today with technology, what do you consider a successful music career?
Well, the way I would define it is if I can just pay my bills and do what I love to do, I'm a happy guy. So I think that's a reasonably feasible goal. What's that equate to? I mean, if I can make 60 to 80 grand a year playing music, I'd be completely content.
Well, and pay all of our bills.
Right. Well, to make sure the band. I mean,
everybody.
Yeah. I mean,
Everybody's making that.
listen. My guys get paid every gig, but I
Right.
know that I'm not paying them what they're worth.
Right.
We're not there yet. I just can't. But I do appreciate the fact that they're sticking with me regardless of that. I'm paying them, I think, industry average, basically. But these guys,
fair. It's definitely fair.
it should be better. And I'm hoping that we get to that level to where I can pay them more and sustain what we're doing.
Have you caught up to Dallas yet, as far as shows a year?
Not very many. I don't think there's very many people on this planet that have done that.
I don't think that dude. I think in a whole year, I don't think that dude takes a week.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing 300 plus shows a year. We're doing it
plus.
close to 200, right around 200. And that's probably going to end up ramping up. The more we tour, the more we'll be playing.
Absolutely.
Because when
Pretty
we're
impressive as a full band.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Dallas is
Dallas doesn't tour full band all the time. So a lot of times.
solo.
He
And
does
it's the
3 shows when
same.
he's here, 2 bands and
Right.
one acoustic.
And we're the same band every show,
Right,
too. Which is
right,
the
and
big thing, too.
the difference is, I mean, when you're on the road, if you're a solo act, you can get those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday gigs.
Right.
As a full band, very few places want to hire a full band on a weekday.
Right.
Again, this is where it's different than metal. We're not quite yet a ticketed touring act, so we want to we aspire to become that, but we're still doing places that pay a guarantee, which you don't see in the metal scene often.
Right.
It's just a different world. But yeah, it's that if I could a living wage, man, and that would be literally success in my book.
I think success would be roadies and a bus driver.
Well, that too, yeah.
Roadies and a bus driver?
Yeah.
And a cook.
And a cook.
Okay.
I could live without the cook, man. A roadie and a bus driver though would be awesome. Because
I think. So for me, I'd say a cook. I say roadies just because I'm just so over the word.
Okay.
Because you know the food's going to be there.
Point taken. But I mean,
So I wouldn't have to do it.
That's right.
Well, and I'll tell you, from being a local guy, local crew, that having a family is what has always kept me from doing roadie stuff, because God, it's the most fun I have ever had in my entire life.
Are you trying to find us a roadie? Is that what you're trying to do right now?
Are you trying to leave your family?
No.
He's trying to get people to call him roadie.
But I understand what you're saying. That, you know,
I would be plenty
and,
happy if I never have to push another box again or drive that damn RV again.
Right?
I would be perfectly fine with that.
I think it's playing is so much fun. Like we honestly, all four of us, it is so much fun when we get up on stage and play. I love that we get to do that for a living, and I love that we don't have to have day jobs to do this. But setting up and tearing down is the worst thing in the friggin'
And keep in
world.
mind, again, another difference in metal and country. We're playing 3 to 4 hour gigs every show.
Right.
So just this last weekend, we did 3 days in a row. That was 12 hours of playtime, plus setup time and tear down time, like he's
A
alluding
lot of
to.
people think that, you just came out and you just played 3 hours. Well, no, we showed up 2 hours early to set up.
Right.
And we were there at least an hour after tearing down.
Yeah.
So one show, driving and getting back, one show it's almost a 12-hour.
It's a full day's work. Yeah.
It's probably 15.
Think about Sturgis.
Yeah, we did what 15. We did 15 shows in
8 days. 8 days.
15 days. 15 in 8 days.
Yeah, we did 2
shows
a day.
in 8 days.
Yeah, 2 a day.
At Sturgis.
Yeah.
Second place.
I pulled my damn back out. I pulled my back out while out there. I was literally waddling up to the stage with my wife's help.
Yeah.
They put the guitar around me. I'd play through the set and then waddle right back out the stage.
Yeah, he'd stay in the RV. We'd set everything up, get everything set up the best we could, and then he'd come in and sound check and then go sit down. But we did that for 2 weeks straight, and we played Full Throttle Saloon. We played Glencoe.
Side hacks,
kickstands,
Shade Valley.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were all over the place, but I wouldn't trade any of it. I think we had a great time. We really enjoyed it. So.
I don't think Dan had a great time.
Well,
I got through it.
We wouldn't trade it, but we did what we had to do to make sure he was able to play what he could play.
Absolutely.
I sat in that RV and just watched a lot of movies and smoked too much pot.
Right.
That was it.
And we learned a lot.
And the heating pad.
And that is the beautiful thing, because
we learned a lot.
We all know a lot more about how to do everything in the RV now. We know a lot more about how to set up all the aspects of the equipment. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
me
it's
being
not like
down.
I don't just set up my drums. I set up my drums. I help set up the PA. I know where all the wiring goes. Angie knows everything there is to do with the sound. So we all kind of, and Yoder knows everything about the RV. So
right.
Quite. You got a dad joke?
Yeah.
Dad joke.
Just give me one.
Yeah, Yoder, what's the difference between a peeping Tom and a pickpocket?
Yours.
A pickpocket snatches watches.
Watch that one back.
There you go. Well, it takes some of you a couple times to get that.
Did you hear about the guy that got home like 4 o'clock in the morning from partying all night long? His wife was laying there asleep, mouth wide open. He walked over and dropped 2 aspirin in her mouth. She got spitting them up. What the hell was that for? He goes, or what was that? He goes, it was aspirin. She goes, what the fuck for? I don't have a headache. He goes, good. You want to fuck?
That's funny. Are you sure Dan's trying to roof me?
Man. What's the best advice you've been given as a musician?
Keep the bottle out of the bedroom.
What the fuck?
You're going to have to explain that one, Mark.
Yeah, you're going to have to explain that one.
I'm going to give you the mic for this one.
Please elaborate, sir.
Mark?
We need an explanation.
You got something more than that, dude.
It's self-explanatory.
Don't drink when you're sleeping. Okay. Don't drink when you're sleeping, kids. I don't know. I think all the advice Dan's got, he's went the opposite direction.
Don't sleep while you're playing.
I've gotten a lot of bad advice.
Okay.
At least what I think is bad advice, but
Right.
you know,
Play more covers than originals.
yeah,
Stick to it. I mean, Billy's always given us solid advice. Just
No, true.
play. Just do it. Do what you do. Stay authentic. Don't bend and don't fold.
You know, I can tell you advice that I've given that I think is really good advice, and it's something that I've kind of built this band on. Always be building bridges.
Okay.
Always.
Yeah.
Don't burn a bridge. I mean, I don't care if you have a disagreement with another band or another owner. Listen, we're all in the same game. At the end of the day, don't burn a bridge. Even if something goes south. I've got some stories where we've worked with some other musicians and it really went south. I won't talk about them here, but
Dang it.
even but even with those artists, the way I look at it is, well, I have a kind of a 3-strike rule. I mean, if they're assholes 3 times, then yeah, they can kick rocks. But so we're on the 3rd strike. We'll see. I'm hoping to run in.
That's one.
Yeah.
One of them had 1 strike and
that other one's
pretty big
out.
Strike.
Yeah.
But
even with them, look, man, you could retaliate, you could retribute, you could post about it, or you could just let lying dogs lie.
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Just let it go.
Yeah.
You know.
We don't need any more drama in our lives. We got enough things.
Exactly.
We got to worry about the positive stuff.
Right.
Fuck the negative stuff.
Yeah.
When you and
Don't bottle in the bedroom. That's what it means.
when you and Billy did the show at the PV Clubhouse,
Yes.
did you know me at that time? Yeah. Okay, because you were walking back with Billy, and I don't know if there was something going on, or you looked at me like I was like, what'd I do wrong?
A lot of people say that about Angie. She's really aggressive.
She looks very intimidating, but she is the sweetest person you'll ever meet.
No, yeah, absolutely. We've talked since then, but
Easy for you guys to say. You're not married to her.
And does your couch fold out at home?
It is weird. We haven't been married a long time, but that's because I won't sign. I won't sign the paper.
Probably because you tried to burn his house down too.
amongst other things.
Speaking of which, I think I'm going to start doing that again up at our clubhouse, at our Paradise Valley clubhouse. We're going to, all right, wait, I don't know where you left off, but
burning houses.
No. We're not.
Arson spree.
Back to the clubhouse. The show. So we on what is going to be February 12th. We have Craig Fisher from Farm Truck. They're a Californian band. He's going to be doing a solo performance at our clubhouse on and what day does that fall on? Friday, Saturday, Wednesday, Whiskey Wednesday.
Okay.
So that's open to the public. Everyone's welcome to come.
We're hoping Brian on
We're not even going to charge a cover. It's just going to be, we're going to encourage people to tip a little bit, support your local touring independent artists.
Absolutely.
Maybe you'd come out to that one too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'd love to.
In March.
Yeah, in March we might have Ryan Criss from Ryan Criss and the Rough Cuts. I don't know if you were there that night when he played there.
No.
We actually had him full band.
Okay.
But Ryan Criss is from Colorado.
Okay.
And he's kind of like our mirror image, if you will, in the sense that we're all doing the same thing and we kind of have the same values and we're pursuing the same dream. I love his music, and he's doing exactly what we're doing independently, just playing the honky tonks and grinding. And I got nothing but respect for that guy. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see. Best advice to give anybody because you're out touring and doing stuff.
I don't know. For me, for me, it's just going to be authentic and don't be afraid to take that step. Take some risk because life is short, man. If you don't do it now, I feel like I jumped into this game a little too late. I've always known growing up that I always enjoyed playing acoustic music, and I mentioned earlier I was heavily influenced by Leonard Cohen, and I did start writing some acoustic stuff. Wasn't necessarily country, but it took me a long time to get the balls to actually start doing this. I just didn't have enough. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't have the confidence. She was pushing and prodding for a long time, but it's ironic. I regret that. I wish I would have started this journey, when I was 30, not because I started this journey at 47 years old. That's in music years, that's pretty old. Just keep it authentic and don't be afraid to take that step and take the leap of faith. You guys.
Well,
Mark, you got any good advice?
bottle of the bedroom.
Without the bottle of the bedroom thing. Yoder, any advice?
For me, kind of like what you were saying, I heard a line in the song. I think it's Cody Johnson's song. It's you got a dream, chase it, because your dreams won't chase you.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a great line.
Yeah.
And I think, as Dan said, life being short, you don't come to realize that. And for me, I didn't come to realize how short it was until I lost a child. And when you lose a child, you do realize how short life is.
Yes.
And that's really what made me go all in. When Dan asked me, I need a drummer that's going to tour. I need a drummer that's willing to go. Are you going to do this? I looked at the fact that Elena lived 27 years and lived more of a life in 27 years than I had in 47. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? That was inspiring to me. And I said, that influenced me to just say, you know what? Yeah, fuck it, I'm gone. Let's just do this. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Let's just go. This is the right bunch of people to be doing it with. Let's live it out the rest of the days, and this is the way it should be. So, and it is short. So you do have to give everything you got now, because you can't keep putting shit off till tomorrow, because sometimes tomorrow doesn't show up.
Exactly. And it's crazy. And I'll just from the fan perspective, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. Just to sit back and watch, and now I kind of have some of an inside seat, being able to do this and get to know you guys on this level, and share this with everybody else so that they can learn who you are, what you're about, and listen to your music and go, hey, I like them. And then you've got some more fans. So that's kind of the premise behind all of this, is just to kind of boost and help. And again, I thank you guys for coming and hanging out, because
we appreciate what you do, man.
It's a lot of fun, and I wish I could be in more places at once, because it gets crazy, because everything, we don't have an area per se like Bourbon Street or Pioneer Square where you have everything. There's the outer lying stuff, but you have a little bit of everything in one area, and you get to enjoy all of it. And that's what's helped push new music before, back in the 90s.
Right. Yeah.
Pioneer Square pushed grunge and made grunge what it was. Yeah. Or at least that's the way I feel about it. Some people argue about it, but okay.
And I feel Phoenix has the potential to be that.
Huge potential.
It's just, it might just take some time. It might be happening slowly.
Yeah. Well, thanks to COVID.
Yeah.
COVID hurt it. Period. And bad, because there's still people that don't come out.
Yeah.
And it's starting to improve, thank God. But
oddly, we got our start during COVID.
Right.
Because we had we had our clubhouse, which had full sound and stage and everything, and that's while the world was on lockdown, we were hanging out at the clubhouse, drinking whiskey and writing songs. Yeah.
And when you start to get a cold, what do you take? A hot toddy.
There you go.
Angie, this one's for you, because you were there when he transitioned. Mm-hmm. So what kind of mess was he when he was getting ready for his first country gig?
Let's just make it clear. Transitioned from metal to country.
No, not even a question there.
I don't know. I mean, it was actually kind of a smooth transition. I mean, he was sad to be done with, pelvic, and because he had to separate from doing, he had to choose one or he didn't have time to do that, and it was a little bittersweet, but it was nice to see him actually. I mean, hell, when he sang for the campfire that he was talking about and stuff, he hadn't even sang in front of me at that point in time.
Ooh.
He wouldn't do it.
True story.
He would not sing in front of me. And he did it that night, probably because he had like a bottle of Jameson. But he sang, and I'm like, I knew you had the potential to do it. And he, after that point in time, it was pretty. I know. I told him, I was like, look, babe.
Does that mean it's a good thing the bigger bottle's hidden?
No, I think he's hurting today.
I don't want to drive home.
The first show though, when he
first show. I don't
first to
remember
do
what my first show was.
Tom Ryan's? Is that?
No, our first show was either
Tap Room, I think.
Yucca Tap Room, but that was a wholly different lineup.
That was a different lineup. That was my very first
yeah,
lineup,
he was
but-
so nervous. Yeah.
Oh God.
He was so nervous on that show, and he actually he did good.
No, I didn't. No, there's video floating. There's video floating around, and I hope you get. I mean, I'm stupid for even talking about this, but I hope you don't find it online. But no, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. My vocal, I was pitchy. I was off. It was terrible. I'm embarrassed of it, but hey, I kept practicing. I think I get better. But but I've always been.
And that's why I asked her.
Yeah, listen. I am my own worst critic, but
Absolutely.
We all I also are. When I even before that, I would record myself at home, playing, and I would play it for her. So I wouldn't play. I don't know what it was a weird crutch in my own mental state, but I wouldn't play in front of her, but I would record it and let her hear it. And she was pushing me. But now I get it. Like, no one calls their own kid ugly. They're going to say nice things about their own. So she's saying nice things about me. I listen to my old recordings, man. It was terrible. No.
Yeah, but if I would have said, like, fuck no, babe, you got to quit this shit.
Well, no, I appreciate it. Yeah. No, of course I appreciate the encouragement, but, and I like to think I've gotten a little bit better from those days. I mean, I don't cringe anymore when I listen to myself, so that's...
Okay.
You've adapted quite a bit from what
I agree.
the way you sounded then to the way you are now.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Way different. Like, he sounded way Leonard Cohen back then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he doesn't
found
sound
his
anything
voice.
like that.
He
Yeah,
found-
he had to find his voice.
Yeah, he found his
We had to
voice.
find it, but that's why I asked the question, because I don't want his perspective on how he felt when he first gig transitioning from metal to country. I'm sure you practiced and were prepared and ready to go, but how was he? And that's
it was wild making, even as a guitar player. So my whole life I played metal, and we're talking really tight, intricate patterns, Doing the most rudimentary, basic things was hard for me. Strumming, that just wasn't natural for me. My wrist was just stiff. I was so used to, playing metal. It just wasn't natural. So even getting past that was stupidly hard for me. It took me a long time just to be able to strum and syncopate, in without missing it and singing at the same time.
okay.
Sounds
And
stupid.
you were fairly newlyweds at the time?
Oh no, God, we've been together
25 years.
25 years. Yeah.
Oh, strumming shouldn't have been a problem.
Because I have to do it for him.
Oh, I didn't say that.
All right, one of you guys. What have
On to the next question.
How was your first show, Tom?
Tom?
Oh, Mark.
Tom.
Mark?
Mark. So, where does Tom come from? Oh, never
Tom
mind.
McElvain.
Tom
Yeah.
You need to check him out.
You're reading Dave's shirt.
Are you talking about?
Well, I'm surprised I didn't call him Hockey, because
Are you talking my first show as a 12-year-old or my first show with these guys?
okay, both.
Yeah, well.
Can you remember back
Can you
that far?
remember 12?
Yeah, I can because
Back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth.
yeah.
He had to chisel his
When
steel
the Bible
out
was
of...
written.
No, I wasn't. This is way before I ever saw a steel guitar. But
He is the Book of Mark.
I was in junior high school and I had a little electric guitar plugged into an amp. I had another kid who stole a microphone from the junior high AV locker. He had it plugged into my amp. Had a kid playing the drums with this like crappy Sears drum set with cymbals that sounded like garbage cans lid, and we played a birthday party for one of our classmates. I remember we did some Stones covers, probably Kinks. Nobody could play the Beatles stuff in those days because it was like too hard. Nobody understood how to do it.
Right.
And her mom had like cooked